Um, my therapist pointed out something that completely changed how I see my life, and I wanted to share with you because it just really changed my viewpoint. So, this was my life, and even though basically what happened was, even though like this, like I was basically have you ever had one thing in your life not working, and suddenly you start feeling like your whole life is falling apart? And basically, so I had the friendships, there's health, right? Overall good health, right? There's faith, career. One second, guys. There's faith, career, um, finances. So finances, um, obviously fun, and then there's, home. And I failed to see all the areas in my life that I felt like wasn't necessarily going well. Okay. And I was telling her, well, because recently I've been making some transitions, and I hired a coach. And then what had happened was I just felt like, because I was learning these skills and stuff, I was like, well, maybe I should give up. I was telling her, like, I don't feel like, my life is going not well, blah, blah, blah. And basically, because of one area, right, that wasn't doing well, I felt like my whole world was crashing down. Like, I felt like automatically all of this was just contaminated, basically. And it was at that moment where she had to stop me, and she had to stop me and make me realize that just because like one area is not going the way that you want it to doesn't mean like your whole, like every other area in your life is falling apart. Okay, let me just. And she made me see that, like, you could have one area falling apart, but it doesn't mean that the other 90% of your life is falling apart. And that was something that I had to like get ingrained in my mind, because I was like, huh, I never would have thought of it that way. Like, I just felt like, oh, like, because like this one area wasn't doing well, I was like, well, that means like the rest of my life is not doing well. Um, and I had to come to grips with that. And let me show you like a little chart of like what I'm talking about. Okay. So this is basically like a presentation, and I kind of did like, this is what I felt wasn't working. So like I felt like the figuring out the lives, like the learning new sales skills. Well, it was beyond what I've done. Like, I've had a whole marketing agency and stuff like that. But because I was so learning something new, and I had to obviously keep practicing it, it felt like my whole world was falling down. And then there was like, the whole business process of doing something completely different than what I've been used to. Like, it's just a completely different business than what I've been used to. Like, I used to always do like outbound sales, and now I'm doing a lot of inbound sales. And then basically like not feeling trapped in my job was a big thing, where I felt like, okay, I want to make sure I'm not feeling trapped. And so obviously my mind was spiral. where you're thinking, oh my God, my whole life is like falling apart. And then like there's just the pressure and impatience. And then um when I looked at what was actually working, when she pointed it out, I was like, okay, like that's a big like chunk, guys. Like to see like what was actually working. And you could see like everything here. It was like friendships. When I had my birthday celebration, like the successful part was like, actually having people there. um it was, the salsa dancing, like just enjoying my life, like all everything, self-care, getting facial stuff like that, like just pampering myself, like having a home refresh. So lately I actually had a friend, like she was been helping me organize like certain things in my home, and like just getting things more organized for my mental health. Just community and connection, like being a part of like creating an event at church and just really tapping into that, the mental health, like obviously you can see the list is like way longer. And then the self-development, being outside, enjoying life. And then basically she tried to say like, yeah, like it's like there's so many more areas in your life that's going well than compared to what I felt is not working. And I just want to be a transparent about that. And I wonder if there's other people that felt like that, where sometimes like when one area is not working, then all of a sudden you look at all areas and you're like, oh shoot, like it feels like everything else is not working, right? And then you go into this spiral. And what was funny is so let me put this back on here. And then what was funny is as she's telling me this, because she was like, you know how many people, you know, are like, as much as like you've always had a business, you've always, had that like mindset of, running your own business, all that stuff, and you've done it for 10 years and then you transition back in a job. She was like, do you know how many people like would want to have a pension and would want to like be able to save? Because a lot of it in that part of finances was like, I was like, yeah, like it's true, because I was able to save a good amount compared to where I was before. Like I've been able to do really good things. I've like built my friendships, and she's like, I remember where I saw you before, like where you were before, like it's definitely different than where you are now. And as she was speaking, I was like, I told her how I had did this prompt, and let me read it to you guys. So I'm gonna show it to you guys. So basically, I had did this prompt on ChatGPT because I saw it somewhere in Threads, where it tells you to basically ask ChatGPT, like basically to show you all your blind spots or areas that you don't really see, like that you don't really notice, like that type of thing. And it said to be blunt, okay? So it gave me 10 different things I don't usually see by myself. And as she's speaking and she's like, oh, you come a long way, I thought back to one of the points that ChatGPT gave me, and this was number 10. And this was the most important thing. And I'm going to read it to you guys, okay? And it said that the thing you probably don't see at all. And I remember I started crying in this therapy session reading this because it had more meaning. It said, you have already become the woman you used to wish you were. Not entirely, not completely, but more than you realize. The younger version of you wanted to be more confident, more independent, more faith, better boundaries, solo adventures, creativity, purpose, and stronger friendships. And when you talk about your life today, those things are already present. The reason you don't fully feel is because your eyes are fixed on the next mountain. You're measuring yourself against the woman you want to become, not the woman you used to be. If I had to summarize your biggest blind spot in one sentence, it said, you spend so much time evaluating whether you're making enough progress that you sometimes miss how dramatically you have already changed. And like when I read that in that context, like just being in that therapy session, and I was like, dang, like, and I remember I was just crying because I was like, that is so deep. And it's like, I didn't realize how much I was doing that. Like, I always put pressure on myself to do the next thing. Like, I would accomplish something and then always do the next thing. Or it's like I was basically like always like and I remember thinking, like, man, I'm like so hard on myself. Um, And I thought that was such a powerful statement. And it's like I didn't realize how much of a progress I've made, like becoming who I am today. And and I thought about this and I was like, I wonder how much of us do that. It's like where we accomplish things and then we basically accomplish it and then we put it like on the shelf and then we're like, okay, let's keep on going now because I need the next goal or I need to hit that next milestone. And then it's like how much of us don't sit with ourselves and just say, okay, what exactly have I accomplished? Like, what have I like how many of us just don't sit with it? Like, how we actually just sit with it and be like, okay, what exactly have I done? Like, what exactly is going right in my life? Because it's so easy to look at all the things that, like, sometimes it'll be just one thing, like what I showed you, right? That chart where you're looking at just two things and you're like, oh, well, this doesn't work. Like, these two things don't work. So that means, like, the whole 80% of my life is not going well. And then how much, but it's like in reality, it's like just because that 80%, like that 20% is not working doesn't mean that the 80% doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that the 80% of your life that's working is disqualified. And I think it's so easy to do that. And I didn't realize I was doing that until I had to call and I went back to what that chat GPT, it was such a weird, like it was such a deep prompt, guys. Like reading that prompt, I was like, how does this AI know like my deepest blind spots? And then like because I think the part that hit me is when it said, like, you just spend so much time evaluating whether you're making enough progress that you sometimes miss how dramatically you've already changed. And then when it talked about like the reason why you don't fully feel it is because your eyes are always fixed on the next mountain. So it's like I never notice the accomplishments because I'm always looking at the next thing to get me to the next level that I don't even let myself just sit with like how far I've come. And over the weekend, like the realization really hit, like it felt like a deja vu moment. And it was especially when my friend invited me to this dinner, or like brunch, like at our home, and it was like about 12 of us. And I remember thinking, like, as I was sitting there, I was like, oh, like this is what thank you so much, Ava. And I remember thinking, like, oh, this is what like they were talking about. Like I was like, this is what they're talking about. Is like, even though other areas in your life is not working, like there could be other things that's not actually working. Like years ago, guys, like I wasn't getting invited to like little house dinners and house parties. Like I don't even think I had friends to invite me, okay, to like events like this. Like I remember being very lonely and not having like really like close, tight friendships, guys. Like that wasn't a thing. That wasn't a thing, right? And I was as I was sitting there in the living room and everyone's like in the balcony or just chatting, I was like, oh my God, like as much as I feel like sometimes like not every area of my life is tight. Like, which I wish it was. It was in that moment where I was like, but look at like this aspect of my life. Like, and I think this is like the goal that my therapist has always been talking about is, and I think all of us can learn from this is like if there's an area in your life that you don't like, you have to create an anatomy. Like other area, there has to be other areas in your life that you are enjoying. Like you can't just put all your eggs in one basket, expecting that one thing to make you happy. You have to like basically break it up a bit. You have to like separate it a bit, and break it up so that way when one area is not going as well, you at least have other areas to fall back on. So it's like if you're not happy with your job, for example, and you have other dreams, you're doing other things to supplement that. Hey, you're basically doing other things to supplement that. So meaning that like so maybe like if you don't like your job, you maybe like have hobbies. So you're doing maybe like doing adult Lego, or you like salsa dancing, or you like do pottery or painting. And I noticed a lot of my friends who are in their solitude and seem to be very happy doing well for themselves is they work their job, but like they also have like side quests. Like I've been really watching my friends that do that, and the friends who do that, they're very like very confident in their solitude and in themselves. So like one of them does like Toastmasters, the other one does like painting classes. And, you know, after this came to light, where I was like, okay, I need to celebrate more of how I've become. It's just been like, I was like, lately I've been like, you know what, I want to just like commit to like something, like maybe it's like an improv class or a pottery class or something. Like, yes, I've done drop-ins, but it's like I want to take it to the next level. Um, yeah, welcome, welcome. And it's like I want to just take it to the next level in terms of just really enjoying my life, and enjoying the small moments, even though like I have obviously big dreams and goals, but it's like not getting all caught up with that. Like I remember there was a point where I said to myself, where I was like, oh my God, like things are getting hard, and like I was like, should I just give up? Or, and then I remember like right away, like my therapist has told me, and she's like, that's the thing, is like when you're learning something new, and especially if it's something that you enjoy, like I enjoy doing these lives like on a daily basis, right? But she's like, if you enjoy something, you don't want to just stop it altogether. Like, yes, like there's things in that you need to learn, there's things that you need to improve on, but you don't want to stop the very things that you enjoy doing, out of discouragement, out of air because of other areas of your life. And I thought that was so powerful because usually in the past, when like with things would get hard, I would stop. Like I remember there was this place I went to where it was like a gym place. It's called 90 rounds. So basically you do like circuits, like kickboxing, stuff like that. And I remember like things were getting hard for me, and the first thing I cut up was that. And I remember I always like, regretted it because I was like, if it was helping my mental health, like I should have cut out the very thing that helps my mental health. And I feel like oftentimes we will cut out the very things we enjoy first before we cut out the things that's making us miserable. Um and yeah, so I just wanted to just share that. Just this realization for my therapist, and like just looking at my life, and now she made me looking in a new light, and I was like, yeah, I never really noticed the good parts. Like three good parts. Like three bad parts doesn't make like the seven good parts like worse or non-existent, right? Like what I was talking about here, right? Like it's all scratched out now, right? I talked about my life and like the faith, like how my faith has grown, right? So like I showed here, like I know it looks flick, but like it's like how my faith has grown, health, right? Friendship, um, like career, finances, home. It's like these areas I've all like grown in, like different areas I've grown in my own way. Like even though like I'm in a career where I'm like, oh, like I obviously want to get out of it, but it's I what I'm thankful for. It's made me save so much money, and like my career is not like it's not toxic. Like what's funny is I had someone come up to me because they were interviewing for the job, and they were asking me like, "Oh, like, is there any like cons about the job like you don't like, blah blah blah?" And I remember thinking, and I was like, you know what? There's not really any cons, which is a good thing. I mean, it's a unionized environment, and so they act right. Um, but I was like, I really can't think of anything that like is a complete con, because I'm like, there's a lot of flexibility in your schedule, seniority, and I remember there was at that moment where I was like, there was a part of me that was like, wow, like look how much I've grown, because I've learned, like, guys, I've came a long way. Like, I used to get depressed and me crying to work, going to jobs and stuff like that. But I realized that my mindset has shifted because I'm doing everything, like I'm doing everything else outside of work, and I'm not just depending on work to make me happy. I realized that I'm going in with a different mindset, like a more positive mindset. Like your life will change if you view the things that you dread, that you have to do, where you may not be able to change out of it, if you just basically like just look at it in a new way, like look at it as a way as, hey, this is just paying my bills, or this is the way it's building my dreams. Like sometimes we can forget things like that, like okay, that very thing that you're doing is building your dreams. That very thing that you're doing is giving you that peace of mind, so you can go and have that peace of mind to do the other thing that you've been wanting to do, whether that's a dream, your purpose, whatever it is. Like sometimes it's just reframing it, instead of saying like, oh, like that career or that job is basically holding me back, or it's not allowing me to do my dreams, it's not allowing me to stay afloat. Like sometimes it's just changing the way you see it, and you have better days doing that. I find like when you're just focusing on the negative parts, it just brings you down. It weighs you down. Like if I could go back to my old self, like especially when I go used to work in retail, it did suck, you know how retail is. And when I was trying to work, I wish I had just reframed it and said like, you know what? Like this is temporary. Like sometimes we could forget that too. Like the things you're doing is temporary. Like no one like I mean no, well nowadays, but no, it's very rare that you're gonna stay in that very thing that you're doing for that specific season for years on end, for like 20 years. Like it's very likely that you're gonna be growing, especially if you have the right mindset, right? It goes back to that you're reading books, you're listening to podcasts, like sermons, like whatever to get you to that next level. Um, it's very rare that you're gonna stay in the same position. I mean, unless you just give up. But most people will progress into something, right? Whether that's like you're doing little classes on the side, you're, listening to other people how they did it, like you're getting inspired. Um, so yeah, I really wanted to just share that aspect because when she brought it to my attention, I was like, wait, I feel like I had a conversation like this where I got to see like it's like comparing myself to the woman I want to be is such a waste of time. It's more beneficial to compare myself to the woman who I used to be. That's so deep, right? It's so deep. Like I didn't even know I was doing that until like I was like did that whole ChatGPT thing, and I was like, oh, like this is what my therapist was talking about. It's like you have to compare yourself to your past to see like how much you've grown, because it's like if you're always comparing yourself to your future self, it's like you're gonna get real frustrated. You're gonna always feel like, oh, like I'm not there yet. You're gonna always feel like you're behind because your future self knows more than you do. Your future self is there to help you to get to that point. But to compare yourself to your future self, it's like it kind of defeats the point, right? To compare yourself to the future because you don't know what's going to come yet. And it causes you to always thrive that you just forget your present self of how far it's come. Um so I just want to leave you with that. And also always, um, like if you ever want to get the friendship audit journal, like just be able to audit and compare your life, like that's always in the description. The clarity call is in the description if you're like, oh, I want to get more clarity. But this is what I like to do. I like to like take lessons in my life and then teach it. I really enjoy doing it. And so yeah, we're gonna end it here. Have a good day, guys. Bye.